Hello and welcome to highlights of the South African Grand Prix, brought to you by Mircoprose and GP2Joey. The 1992 season gets underway this weekend at the Kyalami circuit near Johannesburg, which has been away from the calendar for a year following extensive upgrades to the facilities and a redesign of the circuit. But the action this weekend and for the season ahead promises to be just as exciting and intense as last year's championship was. After an enthralling winner-takes-all finale in Australia, Britain's Joey Davis blasted his way past rival and countryman Nigel Mansell in a do-or-die last corner, last lap pass to sensationally snatch the win for McLaren and with it, his first World Championship. But the winter testing has shown that for this year's curtain raiser, the firm favourite for victory is Mansell and the Williams Renault package, complete with revolutionary active ride computerised suspension, which has been the fastest car by some margin. Ferrari's Ayrton Senna could be a contender this year, but the Brazilian has struggled to get to grips with a difficult car and has been over half a second a lap off the pace, whilst Davis's new teammate, the German wunderkid Michael Schumacher, looks to be a serious threat, as well as Jean Alesi in the second Williams, with both drivers keen to get their first career wins and have a stellar season. The news leading up to the race was all about the winner testing crashes to Joas Porsche's Gerhard Berger at Imola and Davis's almighty accident 2 weeks ago in Estoril. Luckily, both drivers escaped serious injury, although champion Davis was severely concussed and heads into the weekend nursing 3 broken ribs alongside Berger, who has also been cleared to race. But without doubt the biggest news was 4-time champion Alain Prost's protracted discussions with Ligier coming to a close, with the Frenchman finally electing to come out of his self-induced retirement to drive for the team and become a majority shareholder. Winter testing has proven the car to be quick, and the hope is that although there's still much to do, a challenge for the championship will come within the next 3 years. Friday morning's 30-minute pre-qualifying session was nothing short of sensational, with 14 drivers and 7 teams all competing for only 6 spots and a place in qualifying for the race proper. As the drivers were the first ones to taste the new layout, there was pressure for all to get their cars set up well enough to post a decent lap time, but at the end of the session, it was the Lotus Ford pairing of Mika Häkkinen and Mark Blundell who ran out the fastest, with the Finn over 0.4 of a second clear at the top. Also impressing was Alessandro Zanardi in his first race for La Rousse Peugeot, beating his teammate Eric Bernard into 4th position as the team joined Lotus in progressing, along with Von Metal, who surprised many with their pace in what was ultimately a very close session, whilst the rest were forced to go home early. After all the unknowns that winter testing generated in terms of who has got their new cars right and who hasn't, qualifying quickly started to paint a picture of the early form guide, as it soon became clear on Friday that whilst Mansell was going to be the man to beat, Prost had a decent chance of success in the Ligier, on his way to eventually getting 5th on the grid, and a frustrated Senna ended up only 4th quickest after struggling to find any grip in the Ferrari around the tight sections of the track. Michael Schumacher came out a fine 3rd in his debut race for McLaren after a quite superb performance, whilst teammate Davis was clearly in some discomfort with his broken ribs and could only manage a time good enough for 9th on the grid. It all left the Williams pair of Nigel Mansell and Jean Alesi untouched at the head of the field, with the former taking the pole by over 0.2 of a second after a stellar final lap in the dying seconds on Saturday afternoon to cement his provisional pole from the day before. It was a dominant display from the team, and afterwards Mansell was confident of getting his season off to a winning start, while Schumacher remained optimistic of his chances should anything happen to the 2 cars in front of him. A downcast Senna feared he would be lucky to even score a point, such as the current state of Ferrari's race pace at the moment, whilst Nemesis Prost was sure he and Ligier could get on the podium, and Davis confessed his sole aim was on getting to the end of the race and hoping for an added bonus of a point or 2. So it's Mansell on the front row with Jean Alesi. Row 2 is Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna. Row 3 is Alain Prost and Martin Brundle. Row 4 is Johnny Herbert and Michael Andretti. Row 5 is Joey Davis and Eric Comas. Row 6 is Gerhard Berger and Heinz Harald Frentzen. Row 7 is Ricardo Patrese and Mika Hakkinen. Row 8 is Derek Warwick and Mark Blundell. Row 9 is Damon Hill and Eric Bernard. Row 10 is Olivier Griard and Andrea De Cesaris. Row 11 is JJ Leto and Alessandro Zanardi. Row 12 is Satoru Nakajima and Stefano Modena. And at the back it's Pierluigi Martini and Gianni Morbidelli. After Emanuele Pirro and Ivan Capelli in the two BMS Stellaris both failed to qualify. It's the start of the 1992 season as the red lights come on. And it's go, go, go! It's a strong start from Mansell in the leading Williams, with his teammate Johanna Lacey right behind him, as Senna looks to try and come through on the inside in the Ferrari, and Schumacher's on the attack on the inside into the left-hander. It's Mansell. Mansell's ahead of Lacey as Schumacher momentarily gets his nose in front, and the two of them, they're side by side now. Mansell's got a superb lead, but who's in second place? It's Lacey. Johanna Lacey's managed to get the jump on Michael Schumacher, with Senna in fourth, Prost in the Ligier's fifth, as Schumacher looks to have a go again, but he can't get through there. Lacey just cuts right across the front of that McLaren Ilmore. Phenomenal piece of defensive driving from Lacey. And look at this! That's Joey Davis up into sixth position from ninth on the grid. What a fantastic start from the defending world champion, with Michael Andretti seventh. It's Brundle in eighth, Herbert's in ninth, and Eric Comas is 10th. As Prost looks to make the move on Senna, and he's through. Prost is through, so Prost is up into fourth place. Senna drops to fifth, and he's now going to have his earphones full of Davis's McLaren. His wing mirror's full of Davis's McLaren, but Davis can't get through there. Senna's got the line covered through the right-hander. Prost is fourth, and still Schumacher can't find a way past Johanna Lacey, who's absolutely miles behind his teammate Nigel Mansell, who powers out of the final turn. It's a scintillating opening lap from Mansell. He's got the lead. And let's have a look at the onboard from Davis.
It must have been a very strong start from Joey Davis there. You can see he immediately gets the power down. Immediately pulls ahead of the two Benettons. So quite tremendous getaway there. And there's Martin Brundle trying to make his way past. And he gets through there. Davis has to be very careful there not to hit the Ferrari of Andretti, who breaks early. Davis has got the inside line and just about manages to sneak underneath the Benetton of Martin Brundle there. So a quite phenomenal opening couple of corners there from Joey Davis, with the rest of the field in front.
As he's looking to make the move on Prost now into the tight left-hand hairpin. But Prost has got him covered. Out of it, they're side by side. Look at this. They're two great friends. It's Alain Prost, who many people didn't expect was going to be racing this year. And Lacey's still just ahead of Michael Schumacher. But Davis is going through. He's through and up into fourth place, and he locks his wheels. But it's a phenomenal couple of corners from Joey Davis. He's gone from 9th to 8th to 7th to 6th to 5th to 4th. Fantastic. And that's Nakajima off. Satoru Nakajima's off in the Tyrrell. I'm not sure what happened there, but he's obviously... And Damon Hill with some sort of a problem in the Jordan Ilmore. Hill's off at the first corner.
I think he's had some sort of a technical failure there, as we see Alessandro Zanardi, the rookie there, almost losing it as well. So I think Damon Hill sounded to me as if the engine might have cut out on his Jordan.
It's fantastic start, and look at this. That's JJ Leto. Leto in the footwork, getting underneath. That was Olivier Griard, and he's now behind Andrea De Cesaris. But Johnny Herbert, he's still in 9th position, trying to close the gap down on his teammate Martin Brundle. They're separated by only 0.3 of a second, but back up front, Mansell's got a 5.2 second lead. But Davis has lost position again to Senna. I'm not sure what happened. We didn't see it on the TV cameras as Davis looks for the inside, but Senna's too fast. Martin Brundle's now trying to make the move on Andretti, but Joey Davis, he's managed to find his way past the two of them again. So I'm not sure what happened there, but Joey Davis is back up into fourth place. Why are we not seeing the racing, Mr. TV Director? Because back up front, Mansell has got a 6.7 second lead over his teammate, Johanna Lacey.
Well, from the moment the cars hit the track on Friday afternoon, really there hasn't been any other driver in the running, as Mansell's lead now up to 7 seconds, ahead of Johanna Lacey, with Michael Schumacher only 0.5 of a second behind his rival, Johanna Lacey. Both drivers looking to get their first win this season, if they possibly can. As we look at the two of them now, Johanna Lacey's coming under increasing pressure from Schumacher. But Schumacher's coming under pressure from Davis, because Davis is catching them both at over a second a lap. And let's not forget that Davis is racing with 3 broken ribs this weekend.
And that's Comas pulling off in the Ligier. Eric Comas is going to be out of the race. But look at the gap for third place. Davis is less than a tenth of a second, and he's ahead. My goodness me. He's managed to get his way past his German teammate. And Davis is now up into third place. Alesi second, and Mansell's lead is nearly out to 10 seconds. This is a phenomenal performance from the defending world champion in the number 1 McLaren. He's already up into third place. Is he going to be able to find a way past Jean Alesi's Williams? But Alesi, once again, has been very uncompetitive compared to Mansell, who's continuing to lead.
And here's Herbert. Johnny Herbert trying to chase down his teammate Martin Brundle with Michael Andretti. This is for 7th position now. This is a very close battle. And I think that there's not a lot of happy faces in the Ferrari pit wall because Schumacher's going to make the move. Schumacher!
He's going to try and make the move on Davis, and he's through. Davis just let him have it, I think, there. That's Alesi in second, and Schumacher retakes third place, away from his teammate Joey Davis. Fantastic racing as Alessandro Zanardi locks up once again. He's pushing the LaRousse for all it's worth, trying to chase one of the Tyrrells down there. I think that's Stefano Modena in the Tyrrell. But look at this, Davis on Jean Alesi now. Is he going to be able to make the move as Prost comes into the pits? It's lap 21 and Prost is into the pits for the first tyre stops. But Davis can't do anything about it there, and he's run wide, and he's on the grass as Andretti comes in, and Davis is off. My goodness me, well, that's not going to have done his ribs any good whatsoever with Brundle coming in there. I'm not sure what happened.
I think he may have just got a little too close to the rear wing of Alesi's car and just lost all the front end of that downforce out of that McLaren there because he just cascaded across the gravel trap, and thankfully he seems to have only damaged the front wing of the car, and hopefully it's not damaged his body any more than he did do. With Prost still in the pits, he's had to come in the pits yet again, I think, there.
No, yes, he has. Yes, Prost has had to come in. But Mansell's still in the lead in first place now. He's got a 12-second lead over Schumacher. With Senna in third, it's Alesi fourth, and Alesi's coming into the pits. As we see Olivier Griard almost losing it over the bump that's on the pit exit. And the drivers have been desperately moaning about it as Davis is into the pits to get his rear wheel, his front nose repaired. But they've been really moaning about the severe bump that there is on the pit exit. And quite a few drivers lost it through free practice when they had full race distance fuel on the cars as De Cesaris comes in. But the race leader Mansell's into the pits. Mansell's in.
As we see Riccardo Patrese there, still going. I'm not sure why, but still teams are quite empowered to employ the Italian, with Gerhard Berger right behind him as Michael Schumacher's into the pits.
Schumacher's in, and Senna's going to come into the pits. They're going to be in absolutely together, and that's going to give Alain Prost the chance to take second or even third place because Alesi's dropped even further back, and we're hearing that Alesi had a moment as Mansell spin. Nigel Mansell loses the back end of the Williams, but he's managed to keep it out of the gravel and out of the barriers, and he's able to resume. My goodness me, I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he caught it over the bump. But that was quite extraordinary for Nigel Mansell. He's got a comfortable race lead as he chases after one of the Lotuses. I think that's Mika Hakkinen, with Alesi in third and Herbert fourth, and Brundle sixth with Schumacher. And that's Schumacher and Senna. They've come together. As Derek Warwick comes into the pits. Well, what's happened there? The McLaren and the Ferrari, they've come to blows somehow. Again, the TV cameras haven't picked it up, but they have dropped down the order, and Senna is 8th, and Schumacher is 9th, and Joey Davis is up into 7th. It's Brundle in 6th. Michael Andretti's in 5th position, and Bernard's off in the LaRousse. He cascades into the remnants of Damon Hill's Jordan. It's Johnny Herbert in 4th. Jean Alesi's 3rd. Prost is up into 2nd place. Incredible. As the two Joeys battle between each other, it's Patrese and Gerhard Berger. And the Italian cuts right across the front of the Austrian, who's just about recovered from his almighty accident at Imola in winter testing. And Brundle spins. And it's a right calamity there because Brundle seemed to get caught up with one of the Ferraris. And it was actually both of the Ferraris.
And Joey Davis seemed to be involved in that as well by the look of it. I think I just got a flash of his McLaren getting through there. And that means to say that he's dropped right the way down. But Senna's now up into 5th place with Johnny Herbert in 4th. And here we're on board with Senna in the Ferrari. And he's really struggled this winter. The team haven't actually designed a very good car for the Brazilian. He's not very happy in the team. And I just hope that they're actually going to fix it.
As Andretti pulls off in the other Ferrari, Andretti is out. He's got smoke billowing out of the back of the number 28 Ferrari, and the American is out. It's been a disastrous start to the season for him. And there's Mansell getting past a McLaren.
That's Derek Warwick in the footwork. That's Warwick in the footwork there getting lapped.
Warwick, he's driving fantastically well as Senna. He's still trying to chase after Jean Alesi in the Williams, but Alesi is so far up the road now. He's a good 7 seconds up the road. But where's Schumacher and Davis? Because the two of them are embroiled in a fantastic battle with Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 8th position. And there's Mansell. He's navigating his way past the two Joest Porsches of Gerhard Berger in 10th position. Patrici's up into 9th. This is a fantastic showing from the Joest team.
Well, they really struggled last season, and their reliability was absolutely appalling. They failed to finish so many races, and they really worked on the design of their 1992 car. So I, for one, am absolutely delighted to see them up there in 10th and 11th place.
As we look at Prost lapping, that's Brundle, I think. That was Alain Prost. He was lapping Martin Brundle. Prost is up into 2nd place, and Davis struggles to get past one of the Tyrrells. My goodness me. But this is fantastic. Alain Prost is up into 2nd place. He'd pulled out of the sport last year. He'd retired, and now he's decided to come back. And there's smoke coming out of the second LaRousse. Eric Bernard retired earlier, and Alessandro Zanardi's debut is going to come to nothing. He pulls over, and he is out as Mansell continues on his way. He's 19.3 seconds ahead of Prost, with his teammate Jean Alesi in 3rd place. Senna's 4th. Schumacher's 5th, and look at this, he's got Joey Davis all over his gearbox, with Senna just ahead of the two McLarens. This is fantastic. Schumacher's in his first race for the Woking-based team, but Davis has got the inside line. He's going to pull out. They're going to go side by side into the first turn, and they touch. They bang wheels. Fantastic stuff. Davis, the defending world champion. Schumacher, the young upstart, but Davis wasn't going to give him any space on the inside. And Davis just cascades his way through, and he's ahead of Schumacher as Mansell comes into the pits.
Schumacher's managed to find his way back in front of Joey Davis again. Again, not picked up by the TV cameras. This is quite awful TV direction.
And Davis, look, we're back on board, and he gets past one of the Lotuses there, but he's past Schumacher again. And he's chasing after his good friend Ayrton Senna, who came to visit him in the hospital after his appalling crash in winter testing in Estoril. But Davis can't do anything about it there. He follows right in behind the Ferrari. He can't get through the right-hander. He's earlier on the power. And look at this as they come up towards the hairpin, and Davis loses it. Again, he's over the grass, and he's lost it. He's backwards into the gravel. My goodness me, this is going to do his body absolutely no favours whatsoever. He's going to drop further back down behind Johnny Herbert, I suspect, because Warwick and Frentzen and Patrese are all lapped in 8th, 9th and 10th. And there comes one of the Benettons.
That's Herbert. Herbert's just about managed to get his Benetton stopped in time before slamming into the back of Davis's McLaren. Quite brilliant driving, evasive driving there from Johnny Herbert.
And that's one of the Joest Porsches lapping. He's getting past Mika Hakkinen as Prost comes in for his final stop. And that's Mansell. He's spun again.
My goodness me, I'm not sure what happened there, as that's Frentzen in the Jordan managing to navigate his way around the Williams. But Mansell's obviously just lost it after coming out of the pit lane. And this pit lane is absolutely diabolical. And I really do think that they're going to have to sort this out for next year.
And Senna's made his second pit stop with Prost in as well. But it looks as though Alesi is up into 2nd. But is Alesi going to have to stop again? Is Schumacher going to have to stop again? Because Prost has gone from 2nd down to 4th. And Joey Davis is still in 15th. And that's a Ferrari. That's Senna. My goodness me, Senna spun again.
Well, my goodness, I can't believe what my eyes are seeing. Senna has spun the Ferrari again. Has he beached it on the curbs there? No, he looks as though he's managed to get it reversed, and he's on his way again. But that is quite extraordinary.
Unbelievable as Warwick comes into the pits from 8th position. Senna's now down in 7th. Warwick is 8th. It's Heinz-Harald Frentzen in 9th. And my goodness me, that's Jean Alesi out in the Williams. So Jean Alesi, he was destined to finish behind Nigel Mansell. And Schumacher! That's Michael Schumacher pulling off in the McLaren.
My God, that's both of them out. Schumacher's out and Jean Alesi out, which means that Joey Davis is up into 3rd place with Johnny Herbert in 4th, Senna 5th.
Fantastic stuff. Derek Warwick 6th, but Tracy's in 7th in the Joey's. And Joey Davis is coming into the pits for his final stop. But Mark Blundell in the Lotus is up into 8th position. Ahead of Andrea de Cesaris, who comes into the pits, and Stefano Modena in the Tyrrell, with Gerhard Berger coming into the pits, and there's Senna, and he's hunting down Joey Davis, and he's catching him. So Senna has managed to find some extra speed in the Ferrari, and he's catching Joey Davis. Is Joey Davis starting to get fragile with the pain he must undoubtedly be going through in his ribs? He's been off twice. He's really been in no fit condition to be driving, but surprisingly was past fit by the Professor Sid Watkins to drive. But Mansell's still out in front. And there's Derek Warwick. He's up into 6th position. Fantastic performance from Del Boy. He was sacked after Silverstone last year by the Benetton team. He was unable to find a race for the rest of the season, and he's now back in Formula 1 full-time with the footwork team. But Davis is going round the final corner yet again. What a performance from him in 3rd place. Senna's 4th, it's Herbert in 5th with Derek Warwick 6th. But Nigel Mansell, he's got a 24.8 second lead over Alain Prost. And this has been quite a performance from Joey Davis. But there's Mansell. What a performance this has been today.
He's been absolutely phenomenal. Nigel Mansell's really driven the wheels off of that Williams all race long. He's looked totally in command, albeit with 2 spins. But a fantastic performance from Nigel Mansell.
He powers out of the final turn. He's across the line. And Nigel Mansell wins the South African Grand Prix. Fantastic performance. What a drive from the Briton. He's going to take the 10 points for the win. But where's Alain Prost? The crowds are going crazy because the Frenchman has rounded the final turn. He accelerates out of it. And the new Ligier boss is across the line to take 2nd place. What a performance from Alain Prost. Fantastic stuff. But where's Joey Davis? He's had absolute agony all race weekend long, and he comes out of the final turn, and Joey Davis is across the line in the McLaren Ilmor to take a brilliant 3rd position. But it's Nigel Mansell, the man of the moment. For Mansell, this was unquestionably the best start to the season as he could have hoped for. And despite his minor off early in the race, it was a relatively easy win for the Briton, with Prost a phenomenal 2nd in his first race as a team owner, and Davis an unbelievable 3rd after driving out of his skin for the entire Grand Prix. With Senna a distant 4th after his clash with Schumacher cost him valuable seconds, Herbert took a fine 5th in his first race for Benetton, and Warwick a delighted 6th in his first race back since Silverstone last year for footwork. Afterwards, a delighted Mansell warned that this was no stroll in the park and claimed his rivals were closer than today might have looked. Prost was naturally elated to have scored an unlikely podium in his first race since unretiring and his first as a new team owner, whilst for 3rd place Davis, there was just pure elation that he had fought through what must have been an immense pain barrier on his way to 3rd. It all means Mansell leads the drivers' standings on 10 points, 4 clear ahead of Prost in 2nd, with Davis 3rd on 4 points, Senna on 3 points in 4th, Herbert 5th on 2 points, and Warwick in 6th on a single point. Williams lead the constructors' standings ahead of Ligier and McLaren, who are separated by 2 points, with Ferrari in 4th, Benetton 5th, and Footwork 6th, as the circus readies itself for the 2nd round of the championship from the Hermanos Rodriguez circuit in Mexico City. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for round 2 of the 1992 season and the Mexican Grand Prix.